All right, let's dive right into the massive, wildly fascinating world of the Hindu pantheon. Welcome to this explainer. Today we're exploring everything from the grand creators of the very universe all the way down to the fierce protectors of local villages. You see, Hinduism doesn't just rely on a single linear narrative. It's this incredibly layered ecosystem of deities, avatars, and ancient guardians, and they all work together to keep the universe running.
So what do a cosmic dancer, a boar-headed savior, and a totally selfless giant serpent actually have in common? You're probably thinking, absolutely nothing, right? But the answer really lies in understanding their roles. They are all distinct, vital gears in a massive machine designed to maintain the cosmic order, or Dharma, whenever it's threatened by chaos, disease, or evil.
To make sense of it all, we'll hit 5 key areas today. First, the great cosmic Trinity. Second, divine avatars and interventions. Third, the fierce and local guardians. Fourth, Vasuki, the Serpent King. And finally, the essence of devotion.
Kicking things off with Section 1, the Great Cosmic Trinity.
You see, creation, preservation, and destruction. They aren't just random, chaotic events. They're perfectly balanced forces, represented by 2 supreme triads. In the Trimurti, you have Brahma, the creator, and in the Tridevi, his consort Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge. Then there's Vishnu, the preserver, alongside Lakshmi, the goddess of prosperity. And finally, Shiva, the destroyer, who clears out the old to make way for the new, alongside the mother goddess, Parvati. It's an eternal, perfectly tuned cycle.
And just to put this cosmic scale into perspective for a second, a single day for the creator god Brahma is literally over 4.3 billion human years. I mean, the timelines in these ancient texts are absolutely mind-bending. But while the gods operate on this unimaginable scale, they definitely don't ignore the mortal world.
Which brings us to Section 2, divine avatars and interventions.
Think of an avatar kind of like a divine system update. Whenever the universe's balance is threatened by some overwhelming evil or chaos, Vishnu, the preserver, doesn't just sit back and watch from afar. He actually incarnates physically into the world in various forms to fix the bugs, defeat the demons, and restore justice.
It's amazing how Vishnu's 10 avatars, known as the Dashavatara, literally evolve over time to tackle whatever existential threat is popping up in different cosmic ages. First up, he appears as Matsya, a giant fish, to save the first man from a cataclysmic flood. Later on, he becomes Vara, a boar who physically lifts the earth out of the cosmic ocean. When a tyrant demon gains invincibility against men and beasts, Vishnu finds a brilliant loophole, becoming Narasimha, a ferocious lion man. And looking ahead, he's prophesied to return in the future as Kalki, a warrior on a white horse to wipe out evil once again.
What's really fascinating here is how these avatars adapt perfectly to what humanity needs in that exact moment. You've got Rama, the ultimate rule follower. He is the ideal king who strictly embodies duty, virtue, and ethics. Krishna, on the other hand, is a playful, politically cunning strategist and a profound spiritual guide. He's most famous for delivering the ultimate truths of the universe in the Bhagavad Gita. They just adapt perfectly to the era they're in.
Moving right along to Section 3, the fierce and local guardians.
Now we're zooming in a bit. Check out how the supreme god Shiva actually transforms into a regional protector. There's this legend of 2 demons, Mala and Mani, who gain invincibility and start terrorizing the earth. So Shiva takes on the terrifying form of Martan Bhairav. After a brutal 6-day battle, he defeats them, and then decides to stay on earth as Khandoba. Today, over in Maharashtra, thousands of devotees gather to worship him, completely covering his temples and themselves in bright yellow turmeric, honoring the warrior who protects them.
And you know, this perfectly highlights a common thread across all of India. Different regions came up with incredibly similar guardian figures to fight off very real, very terrifying things, like disease. Down south, you have Mariamman, who locals believe was born from the raw, righteous anger of the epic heroine Draupadi. She brings the rain and cures illnesses like smallpox. Then, hundreds of miles away in North India, you find Shitla Mata, who is revered for the exact same purpose. Different names, different origin stories, but the exact same human need for protection.
Sometimes, though, you need your protection to be highly visible. If you're going to protect a village while everyone is fast asleep, you need a seriously fierce guard. Enter the deity Ayanar. He perfectly fills that role in rural communities. Statues of him sit right outside villages. He's got these massive eyes, a thick mustache, and he wields a sword while riding a white horse. He guards the crops and animals at night, keeping evil spirits at bay, receiving animal sacrifices in return for his unyielding vigil.
Okay, let's pivot to Section 4, Vasuki the Serpent King.
To really grasp Vasuki's incredible sacrifice, we first have to talk about the Samudra Manthan. This was basically a massive cosmic tug-of-war where sworn enemies, the gods and the demons, had to call a truce. They teamed up to churn the cosmic ocean to extract the nectar of immortality. But obviously, to churn an entire ocean, you need a mountain as a stirring rod, and you need a rope strong enough to spin it.
So, enter Vasuki, and just think about what this guy goes through. His body is literally being used as the rope. He willingly wraps himself around Mount Mandara. The gods pull his tail, the demons pull his head, and they literally grind him against the rough stone of the mountain. He endures horrific, unimaginable physical pain simply because the universe needed him to. It gets so bad he starts breathing out fire and smoke from the sheer agony, which ends up burning the demons on his head side.
But wait, it doesn't end there. The churning actually releases the halahal, this absolutely lethal world-ending poison. Lord Shiva steps up and drinks the poison to save the universe, holding it right in his throat. But Vasuki didn't just suffer the physical pain of the churning. He loyally stayed wrapped around Shiva's neck, choosing to share the agonizing, burning pain of that world-ending poison right alongside his god.
And it wasn't just physical agony. Vasuki went through some intense emotional trauma too. Because of a curse laid down by his own mother, Kadru, the entire snake race is targeted years later by a king named Janamejaya, who starts a massive fiery sacrifice to burn all snakes alive as revenge. Vasuki, the righteous king, has to helplessly sit by and listen to the screams of his people burning. That is until his nephew, Astika, finally steps in, using deep wisdom to halt the sacrifice and save their lineage. Vasuki really bore the weight of leadership through the absolute darkest of times.
Finally, we arrive at Section 5, the essence of devotion.
Vasuki is so revered that Lord Krishna himself actually singles him out in the Bhagavad Gita. While explaining his own boundless, infinite, divine nature to the warrior Arjuna, Krishna says, "Among serpents, I am Vasuki." That completely cements the Serpent King status as the ultimate symbol of divinity and righteousness in his class.
It's such a great reminder that true devotion isn't about, asking the gods for favors. When Vasuki first performed severe fasting to meet Shiva, he didn't ask for wealth or power or immortality. He just asked to serve. Later on, when Shiva needed to destroy the triple demon city of Tripura, Vasuki didn't hesitate for a second to become a literal bowstring for Shiva's divine weapon. He offered himself entirely, becoming a rope, a necklace, a bowstring, always for the greater good, without ever seeking glory.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this thought. We've talked about gods creating galaxies and avatars fighting epic wars, but it's the quiet, agonizing endurance of a Serpent King that really hits home here. It's about selflessness, sacrifice, and the enduring power of true devotion. If the universe depended on it, would you be willing to endure the poison for the greater good?